The king of Miami,
Wow.
you're here.
It's a lot to say.
Yeah. Let's talk about this city at this moment. You've seen this explosion firsthand. What happened? What sort of came together to create this cultural moment that it feels like Miami is experiencing?
I think the fact that we were open during the pandemic, us and Dubai were like really the only two cities that were open, and we were ripping it. So I feel like a lot of people saw that they don't have to pay the extra taxes. It's an amazing lifestyle here. It's a real city. We have real restaurants, real culture, real art. I mean, it's an amazing city. And then you have great mayors that are pushing the envelope here. And I think it's just an attractive place for people.
And so this weekend, obviously F1 marks a new chapter to some extent, or a new, I'm going to go there, acceleration, as it were. What does F1 mean, do you think?
I just think it puts that gold standard certificate for us that we're one of those major cities that should have F1. I think it brings us to the international, I mean, not like Miami's not internationally known, but now it says Miami's arrived.
Well, and from a sports perspective, and A-Rod and I were talking about this earlier, I mean, Miami is notable for its excellence in sports, for its breadth of sports. I believe, you know, Beckham is a buddy. I mean, many people are buddies of yours. Beckham, I think, is one of them. I mean, he saw it in many ways before a lot of people did. What did he see? What do you see from the sports perspective here?
I mean, the sports perspective is a little challenging, I always thought, in Miami, because, you know, unless you're winning, they're not going in Miami for the most part. So it takes, I think, the celebrity angle and something that's iconic like a David or a Jeter or, you know, Dammer, you know, it takes that celebrity element or event-esque. You know, people in Miami want to feel like they're going to an event. And I think I opened a nightclub at the Hard Rock Stadium 10 years ago. We did live there, and it was like an event for people. I mean, I remember these Italians and stuff trying to figure out the game, but they all were going because it felt like an event. And I think that's what's special about Miami. Anything you do big in Miami, it feels like it's something bigger than just a sporting thing. It's an event.
So speaking of events, you mentioned the Super Bowl. That's the comparison that I feel like people keep making to this weekend. Is it right? Is it wrong? And how do you view it from an entertainer's perspective, from an impresario's perspective, if I'm going to be so bold?
I think Super Bowl is more across the board. You have more general admission, more people just coming to see the spectacle. I think F1 has just brought luxury and richness and really high-end corporate sponsors, more so than a Super Bowl, but more like an Art Basel.
And so what does this weekend look like?
A lot of high table minimums. Yeah. Yeah, a lot.
So get ready, folks. Just that credit card bill is going to be high.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's, you know, it's like real estate. As there's such a big demand for certain tables, and that's how we treat it, Live, Story, the restaurants, it's really real estate that you're buying, right? So everybody wants that waterfront view.
And so from the nightlife perspective, from the restaurant and entertainment perspective, where is Miami at this moment? Like what are the things that are different now or that are representative of what you think is happening?
I mean, Miami over the last 2 years, you have all the VC firms, all the founders, all these people coming down here, tech, everything. So it's made us raise our bar on how we give service and how we execute and stuff like that, because we want to execute like they're used to in cities, New York, London, San Francisco. And I think it's just brought it to another level. I mean, these people demand service, they demand hospitality, and they demand great food.
There's always obviously been a well-trod path between New York and Miami in many ways. And yet, I mean, it turned into from maybe a 2-lane road to a superhighway over the last couple of years. Tell me more about the impact of that, because it feels like it's changed the geography of the city, the economics of the city, the demographics. Has it? I mean, what's
yeah, guys. I mean, when I first started in the business 20 years ago, it was all about South Beach, South Beach, South Beach, South Beach. And now it's about Brickell and Wynwood and Allapattah coming up. And I just opened a place in Coconut Grove, which I would never open something in Coconut Grove years ago. It's one of my best stores ever, the Key Club. It just opened, and it's amazing to see. There's all these new pockets of Miami. So it's widen it, and Miami Beach now, when everyone left Miami Beach, now that's when we come to Miami Beach and start doing some great things.
Does that continue? Do you think that flow from New York and other places continue?
I mean, now that people have gotten a taste of Miami, I don't think they're going to let it go.
I don't want to go fully down the Barry Sternlicht political road.
Wow.
That was a journey. And yet, I do wonder, from your business perspective, if you see the legislation that's coming through the state. Does that worry you in terms of the growth of Miami?
The only thing that worries me is right now Miami Beach has a government that's trying to do at 2 a.m. and try to take away the nightlife part of it, or the excitement part of Miami Beach, which I think is a challenge. That's kind of what one of the biggest attractions is, that we are open till 5 a.m. and that you can have a little bit more later experience going out, eating, the whole thing, than to be closed up at 2 o'clock. That's the only thing that really concerns me. But thank God, I'm sure we have lots of people that are going to try to block that. But
right. But the overall state politics, you don't think are getting in the way, at least so far?
No, I mean, remember, we have a governor right now that's all about keeping us open and stuff like that. Not like, I would love to think the pandemic's completely gone. I hope so. But at least you know that you have that feel that if something does go awry, that you have a government that's pro-business.
And so,
unless you're Disney, then they're probably not so.
I think that's an entirely different topic. I do wonder, from your perspective, what you see, or let me back up one step. One of the things that we're seeing here, you've seen it up close and personal, is celebrities, entertainers, athletes, all flocking, not just this weekend, but overall. Is that just Miami being Miami, or is there something new and different happening in terms of drawing this really sort of high-octane celebrity crowd?
So Miami, to be honest with you, has always had a very high celebrity crowd.
Yeah.
I just think it's more magnified now, and you guys are seeing it more now because there's so many people here. There's so much events going on. It's shining light on it. But the one great thing about Miami is, this is where people go to let loose. They let their inhibitions go down, and they go crazy.
That's an invitation.
High table minimums.
Along the lines of those celebrities, though, increasingly they are coming to have a good time. They are still coming to have a good time, but increasingly they're coming here to do business.
Yeah.
You're in business with some of them, Pharrell being a great example.
Sure.
Go deep a little bit on that, if you will, because that strikes me as a really interesting partnership that you created that speaks to something larger going on within, shall I say, this world of multi-hyphenates, maybe, that we're living in?
I mean, my partnership with Pharrell Williams is great because he brings a different look on things than I'm used to. The great thing about Pharrell is he's fashion, hospitality, he's creative, he's music, he's everything. So there's a lot of celebrities that want to do stuff with me, but I'm very careful about. But Pharrell is just such a special man, and he sees things so ahead of people that it's great to collab with him and build these great projects together.
So tell us about some of the stuff you've done with him, because it is.
So our first project was Swan in the Design District. It's a great restaurant. I encourage you guys all to go. And next thing was a year ago was the Good Time Hotel. It's right here on 6th and Washington. Again, has a great restaurant called Strawberry Moon, but the pool is completely activated, and it's really something that's a full Instagrammable moment, and it's really highly curated. Please go by there as well. And then we're opening something at Atlantis. We took the original 3 towers of Atlantis and we created our own resort called Somewhere Else. That's a Pharrell name, obviously. And we're going to rethink the way the Bahamas and leisure is existing. And we're looking at everything from stem cell to being able to go in space and space perspective in a space balloon during your vacation, all sorts of great stuff. But it's going to be our resort brand that we're going to look to take that resort brand and open it up all around the world.
Pharrell obviously is a very unique brand and unique person. Are there other things that you, having seen what you've done with Pharrell, do you contemplate other similar partnerships? As you say, people want to work with you. What's the screen?
You know, the great thing is all these entertainers and celebs, they want to put their money just like you guys do. They want to find investments and stuff like that that's going to pay just more than 10 or 20%. They're looking for a big X. So think of my business could give you that ability to do that. And it becomes a coupon that you clip for 15, 20 years when you sign a 20-year lease, if it works. When it works, it's great. When it doesn't work, it's not good. Not good. It's not good.
And you yourself have gotten into the venture business to some extent.
Yeah, guys. What's been great about being in Miami over the last 2 years is I get to meet with 1 or 2 founders a day. All the VC funds will bring these guys over to my house and stuff like that. And I've been able to invest in brands that I could pump into my ecosystem, from Daring Plant-Based Chicken to Owen's Mixers to Jamama Hot Sauce, Dream Pops I just did. And now this week I just did something called Goodles, a much healthier macaroni and cheese, which is amazing.
So how do you source deals?
It's funny how you get your deal flow. People know that, you know, when you over-deliver for people and you say you're actually going to do what you say you're going to do, but do it more, all these founders I found talk to each other, right? All the VC firms talk to each other, so they bring me a lot of deal flow. And I'm kind of out there showing that I'm pushing, you know, young entrepreneurs.
And so did you plug into that network naturally? Like, how did you make the decision?
Yeah, at first I dabbled, and then I started to get really into it. And, you know, I sold 51% of my company to Live Nation a few years ago, and they pushed me to do it too. So I think that's great.
And why did they what was that conversation?
Because listen, people always want to grow the next generation of entrepreneurs. And if I could be a part of that and help turn the needle for them, it's great for me. It's a win-win situation.
And so as you're building various companies, how much trouble do you have finding talent?
That's a great question. So we try to promote within, of course, because they already know your DNA and everything that you're about. To career path somebody within your company is the greatest thing you could do. It shows the rest of the team that you're growing and there's scalability inside your company. And as great as I am, if people think they can't grow in my company, they're going to leave. It's not even about the money. It's just people want to be able to grow. So career pathing within. And then, of course, by being in Miami, when everyone's escaped out of all the other cities, we were able to get some great talent.
And so let's talk a little bit more, if we can, as we wind down a little bit, about the stuff you're doing this weekend, because the world has arrived on your doorstep, or at least the F1 world has arrived on your doorstep. How do you go about figuring out what a cool thing will be? You know, leveraging the place, leveraging your experience, knowing the audience that's coming in. How do you sort of imagine what you're going to do?
So for me, I'm a long ball player, guys. So this year, I turned down 1 million events, all these extra events going on. I really wanted to see how the landscape worked out this year to really kind of figure it out before I just said, okay, I'll do this party and that party and this and this and this. Plus, we have so many venues, Live Story, Poppy Steak, Swan Coat, all these places. So I decided this year to really focus on our venues and making sure we have the greatest people at all of them, and we have all the corporate stuff there. And then we're doing the 72 Club at F1, where we have all our food and beverage brands for all the suite holders to be able to eat. Then right before a month ago, I get a call saying, would you co-host a garage with Stefano, the president of F1? And I was like, I don't know, but it sounded so cool to have a garage next to the Mercedes-Benz pit on the track and be able to bring my friends to and really create a unique experience. Then I was all in.
I love the fact that, like, you've done this for so long and you're like, I don't know. Like, next to the Mercedes pit, okay.
Yeah, that was like, first I was like, oh, another event, no. And they're like, before you say no, why don't you just listen to what we're asking you to do? I'm like, okay. It sounds good.
And so what have you learned? I know we still have, you know, qualifying in the race, but what have you learned so far about this crowd or this scene?
So you know, there are a lot of people who are trying to do these gigantic events off-site, like in this warehouse and that warehouse, and you'll probably see some of that. But a lot of those people, I think, for this first year might get hurt because you may not have as much general admission people as you do just the high-end people. So again, I wanted to just see how it goes this year, and then on Monday our team will get together and we'll figure out what we should try to attack for the following year.
So it's interesting, not to get too into the weeds, but I know that this is a crowd that thinks about these things. You mentioned sort of how the geography and the demographics of Miami have changed. You know, the race is not in downtown Miami or even, along the beach. It's out, by Hard Rock. What does that say about kind of the shifting or the landscape, as it were, of Miami, and how do you think about that as a business person going forward?
I mean, just by having a club at the Hard Rock with Steve Ross, knowing that the city of Miami said, no, we can't do F1, and Steve Ross said, well, I'm doing it myself. You got to give him some credit, guys. It's kind of incredible, right? He said, all right, I'll do it myself. And he fought, and he did it, and the fact that him and Tom Garfinkel brought this to life is the most incredible thing for Miami, and we owe him so much respect for this. It's incredible that he pulled this off himself.
And it's interesting, this is
It's not like he's in Saudi Arabia and they're like, we'll do it. No, this guy is doing it himself.
Yeah, and for and signing up for 10 years.
Yeah,
right? I mean that's a long term.
What a guy.
So what do you?
Table minimums.
As you think about, not just this weekend, but everything that's happened recently. There's market volatility. There's inflation. There's all these different things going on. The politics that we mentioned earlier. What worries you at this point as a business person?
Just about a lot of people are taking a pause on VC right now for the next few months to try to see how the world shakes up. So I think you're going to see all these like crazy valuations come down, obviously, because capital is going to dry up a little bit for these people. So I think that's concerning to me, and the market's a little concerning, obviously, right now. I think you just have to strap up and go with what you have. You're not going to be able to remaneuver everything right now. But I hope it doesn't stop the entrepreneurial mentality. That's what I'm more nervous than anything.
So you're in the hospitality business, you entertain people for a living. What's your best advice for this crew on how to survive and thrive this weekend in Miami?
I think just make your reservations, guys. and you just have to pay. No, I'm joking. No, it's just know this, that try to get your reservations in there as early as possible, right? And I think just take it in. Miami's such a great city. Really see the flavor of the city. And not everything is something you have to pay for. The beach, the weather. What a great weekend we're having. And I'm so excited that you guys are here. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.